Well, hello. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another episode of For the Love of Details. I am so excited to have these two gentlemen you see on the screen tonight. We have Dawn with Detail Obsessed Nation and Chingi with Glossed Up Detailing. How are you guys?
Good.
Very good. Very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Oh, and I do have to say really quickly, we're all repping Detail Obsessed Nation shirt. So we're here representing. Dawn, thank you very much for the t-shirts. One of these will be included tonight in the giveaway, which we have a Goat B2 Tell Chronos and one of Dawn's shirts. So I am excited for this evening. What's up, everybody? I see some regulars in the chat. I'm ready to get going on this Monday. Dawn, Chingi, how was your day today?
It was wild. I had a director level conference this morning with my hospital and the healthcare system I'm with. So it was like a Silicon Valley rah 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 type meeting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And we'll hear more about your hospital gig in just a second. Dawn, what about you? How's your day?
It was good. It was good. Pretty normal day for a Monday. Nothing too crazy. Getting back into the swing from the weekend.
You know, my spring break officially started today, so I think that's why I'm feeling like it's a Monday even though I'm off, but I've been doing so many things, around the house. We're getting ready to go on a trip for vacation. So even though I'm not working, it still feels like a crazy Monday. But man, I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy that you guys joined. I do have to let the chat know. I have been trying to get Chingi to come on the podcast for quite some time. So I was so happy that Dawn agreed to come on and that Chingi, you agreed to come on too. I really appreciate you guys being here. So thank
you. Absolutely. Wouldn't have missed it. Your show is probably one of my favorite podcasts out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been hot lately too. You've had since coming back to this podcast, it's been really awesome. You've had some excellent guests.
Thank you. And with you two on, the excellent.
We brought it down. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. So let's just get into it. I am probably just as excited as the people in the chat to hear a little bit about you guys outside of detailing. Now, if you guys paid attention to the title, we're talking about detailing as a side hustle, because that's what it is, and especially for you two gentlemen. And I think it's kind of important to really talk about how, crazy that side hustle can be sometimes. But because it's a side hustle, that means that you guys actually have some regular jobs. You guys actually have careers outside of detailing. So I'm excited to get to talk to you both. Who wants to jump on first? Who wants to talk about where you're from, what you do outside of detailing, and how you got into this crazy side hustle?
Bartender's choice.
Bartender's choice.
Yeah.
Let's start with Dawn.
Okay.
Are we good? So Dawn, just give us a rundown. I don't want to say quick rundown because I don't want to rush you, but just where are you from, what you do outside of detailing, and how you got into what you call this side hustle here.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I grew up there, home of the Derby, and we moved over to Sellersburg, Indiana, about almost 20 years ago. So that's where I kind of reside. So in the Kentucky and Indiana area. As far as my career, I work for a company called ADP, Automatic Data Processing. They are the largest payroll provider in the world.
Wow.
I work in their retirement services division. So I help our largest 401k clients with their plan designs and assisting them with, just anything and everything 401k related. I am securities licensed. I have my Series 6 and 63 and 26 securities licenses as well. And then what I got started, or how I got started, I guess, was back in 2018. I bought a vehicle, and I was like, "Hey, I want to try to take care of this vehicle and do some, do some cleanup on it and detail." So I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube detailing videos at that time. So I think my first couple of videos I watched were Pan, the organizer, and Apex, Brian Spitler. So I watched those two guys a lot, and that got, like I said, it was a rabbit hole. So that got me going, and I started to buy products. I started to try to do some of my own testing on products, just on my own vehicles and things like that. And that was right at the time that Beadmaker, PNS Beadmaker was coming out.
Okay.
So I got Beadmaker, and I thought that was the best thing in the world. When I put that on, I was like, oh my gosh, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started, which kind of led from just a little bit of a hobby to kind of being obsessed with it, detail obsessed nation, and then into a side hustle.
Yeah. Now, I really, I know we talked about this. I don't know, was it when we got on and kind of did our little mic check? You doing this whole, you said, you work with 401ks and all of these things. Would you call your job stressful? Is it a stressful position?
No, I mean, I don't think it is. I've been there 21 years, so it's not really stressful for me. I try to help out some of the newer folks as they come in and try to mentor them and just help them through it, because it can be stressful when it's new to you. So I try to keep them calm and let them know, hey, nobody. I always say nobody's ever died over a 401k.
Yeah. I had mentioned too, I know nothing when it comes to like retirement and all of those things. And, I jumped onto a plan. So I still have to talk to you about this plan, because I don't know what it's doing for me if it's even something that I should be doing. Okay. So that's awesome. So 2018, you bought a vehicle and you just were like, I got to keep this vehicle clean, and the rabbit hole continues. And I remember Beadmaker too. In fact, I thought it was really impressive. I think it was Matt Mormon who was on like a TRC video, and he was just, ogling over it. So I thought if Matt Mormon thought it was great, it had to be, amazing.
Yeah.
I did actually really like it. However, I felt like it dusted a lot, but that might just be my experience here in the Valley. But perfect. So Chingi, your turn. Where are you from? Same thing. You have a career, and it's a pretty interesting one. And then tell us how you got into this thing called detailing.
Yeah, so I live just outside of Sacramento, California. In 2007, I was in the middle of trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do with my life, and somehow I ended up working for one of the largest healthcare systems in Northern California. We actually have the most employees out of all the healthcare systems in California.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So way back in the day, I had a full head of hair and all black facial hair when I started. Entry-level position in the environmental services, which is the housekeeping. So I had some previous experience working for a school district, doing stripping and waxing floors and extracting carpets and things like that. So I was able to transition into the healthcare setting, and rather quickly I fell in love what our mission and vision was, working in a hospital, working with people and being able to offer some service while they're at their most vulnerable times of their lives often. And our hospital's one of the smaller ones. We're a 64-bed acute care facility. Currently, as we stand today, we're so small, we don't have a labor and delivery, but when I first started, we did,
Oh,
which was a lot of fun. Um, every time a baby would be born, they'd play the lullaby all across the hospital. So no matter
aw, how
where
sweet.
you were at, you'd get to hear that lullaby, and you knew something special had just happened, right?
Awesome.
Um, so working in the we call it EVS, short for environmental services. Um, we touch every square inch of that hospital. So I started off literally having cleaned every square inch of that facility.
Aw.
And after maybe a couple of years, just because of my nature and the DNA I was born with, um, I ended up messing around and getting myself a little important, and moved into some leadership positions. And not too soon after, got into middle management. Um, and so I did all of this messing around without a college degree. So I'm actually currently going back to school
Wow.
to get a bachelor's so I can move on to the next step of a long, what is it, 19-year career working in healthcare. So one of the most enjoyable things and aspects of working in a hospital is, I think, um, any given day you can show up to work and change someone's life for the better. I think it's a real blessed environment to work in. You do see people at their best and at their worst, which I think gives me a real glimpse into human nature overall. So it's been a wild ride, one I would not trade for anything,
Aw.
and something I enjoy very, very much. I have 40 direct reports, so I have 40 employees that work for me. I manage the housekeeping team and the patient transportation department.
Oh, okay.
I also run part of the hazardous materials program, and I'm the waste stream site champion. So we manage all of the hazardous chems, controlled substances, controlled RX,
Wow.
pharmaceuticals, sharps, biohazard, your typical trash waste streams, soiled linen, clean linen. Um, yeah, so it's a pretty robust plate that I get to work with every single day. And like I was mentioning, my day today, it's you know there's cycles to leadership in healthcare. It seems like there's always a different vision that comes from the top, and we're currently adjusting to a few different things out there. So, one, a changing employee group. We have a lot of younger, newer adults coming into the world just out of school, young nurses. So, how you connect and how you lead people is changing drastically.
Aw.
I do more texting now than I've ever done before, right? Everything's done on the phone,
Yeah. Yeah.
without words, or speaking. And then, a lot of the senior, more, let me rephrase that. We don't like using the word senior. Our more tenured employees with the most experience
Oh,
are moving on to the next great chapter of their lives and approaching retirement. And so trying to soak up all of their knowledge and experience and be able to um, pass that on to the next generation of healthcare givers and providers.
oh.
It's a real exciting time. A lot of challenges coming up with, just the baby boomers getting to that age where things start needing some oil and, changing the tires a little bit. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's going to be, we call it the silver wave. I think that's what they're calling it. But there's going to be a huge bolus of retired folks. So we're trying to pivot financially on how to make healthcare sustainable from a business perspective. And that's probably not something people wanted to hear coming to your podcast today. But I can go on and
Oh, that's
on.
great. That's great.
So let's change subjects. So detailing, I started when I was 20 years old. So what is that, 26 years ago? I had gotten a 1995 Chevy Camaro Z28. and was in love with her. And she was black and did all kinds of stuff to the motor, and nothing crazy like you hear Conway talking about, but from this young punk kid from the neighborhood, you know, uh, I did have a lot of fun with her. And so a lot of hand waxing back in the day,
Mm,
a lot of McGuire's, a lot of Mother's, Turtle Wax. And
yeah.
shout out to Armor All. You know what I mean? I was raised on Armor All. I love the oil slick.
I was too. I always
I'm gonna
thought
bring it back.
like
I'm
what
bringing it back.
you know, especially on the interior.
So if Armor All is watching, holler at your boy. We're gonna bring it back. All
Good bring
right, we can do some R&D. You know what I mean? Let's bring a coating to the market. Armor All, holler at your boy.
Oh my goodness.
But so that's where it started. I was
Okay.
obsessed with keeping that black paint shining and clean, and used to do lots of burnouts, so a lot of paint thinner with with tar residue from the
Very
tires
good.
and rubber, and just had a lot of fun. And then after a couple of close calls with my wife, who at the time was my girlfriend,
Mm,
I had lost control a couple of times. And after the second time, leaving a pool hall in downtown Sacramento,
okay.
I realized that I didn't have the emotional maturity
Mm,
to own and safely operate and be responsible with a vehicle that had that kind of muscle. So
mm,
I love fast cars, but I also love lowriders. So I went to a 2001 drop slam to the ground Chevy Silverado,
mm,
5.3. And it was something that you had to keep clean just as much as that black paint.
yeah.
And so I was obsessed, and every free moment I had, hand waxing, washing it, bucket washing. Back then, we were using the old cloth baby diapers.
Honestly,
Um,
your old tells.
yo,
Tell you,
if you've, I mean, we were probably marring the heck out of the paint,
probably.
but in our mind, that was the softest thing you could use, you know?
I
So
yeah, I
old
remember.
baby diapers. And then so I had owned that. I put like 200,000 miles on that truck, and um, you know, just doing everything. And I had started messing around with rotary back then, trying to bring the paint back from. I mean, we were using chamois, we were using all kinds of stuff that it's like, why does it keep swirling up? You know, what am I doing? Nowadays, it's like, I know what the heck I was doing. I was
Yeah,
destroying that paint.
destroying your car.
Yeah. And so I revolted against clean vehicles. And so I had traded that in for a 2015 Chevy Silverado. For the folks wondering, I'm a Chevy guy, and GM all the way. And so I went to the Chevy Silverado, and I swore to myself, I'm never going to own a lowrider again. So I got a lifted Z71 and did some stuff to it. But I swear I would never wash another vehicle again. Like revolt, right? So I was anti clean vehicle, and I don't think I washed it for like 2 or 3 years at one point. And the only time I would, okay, that's not true. Once a year, she got a bath once a year
Mm,
when I would take it and get the oil changed. And so it was one of those kinds of situations. And then as time went on, I started to advance at work and really started to experience some stress and burnout at a really high level. And my facial hair turned white overnight. My hair started falling out. And it was a whole level of anxiety and stress.
mm,
Because I used to be a union employee at one point, leaving the security and comfort of Teamsters, Teamsters Union. I really felt exposed, especially as a husband and a provider. And the stress really started to impact me. And 24/7, I couldn't turn that noise off.
mm,
And so I got back into detailing, and it really provided me some escape, some peace, some serenity. And
yeah.
actually, it was the only time outside of like exercising where I could actually turn my brain off. Um, and so I really fell in love with it again and dove hardcore into it. And I'd always watched detailing. And shout out to Chelsea. So Chelsea, a lot of people, if you haven't watched her old content, she's a huge, or at the time was huge on Superior products.
Yeah,
Way
she was.
before it
Yeah.
was like the cool thing. And I'm sure she probably took heat for rocking Superior the way she did, but I watched her content like an obsessed stalker. Um, I loved everything about what she was doing. She was
Yeah.
a huge motivation. I thought, man, here's this mom who's, turned this detailing passion of hers into a business.
Yeah.
And after getting back into the love of detailing, I really started to realize I have an ability to focus and turn this love and escape into it's art.
Yeah.
It really is. You can take something that's trashed and beat up, just like people who repurpose furniture or old vehicles, and they turn it into something amazing. And you can do the same thing with paint. You can
Yeah.
do the same thing with just a common soccer mom's vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And so the neighbors started to see that I was always out in the driveway. I was always working. I would go work my 9 to 5, come home, detailing all hours of the night. And so Chelsea was one of my biggest motivations. Like, man, here's this full-time mom, which
Yeah.
is the hardest job anyone could ever grow up and do. If she can do it, I'm going to give it a shot. And I've got a pretty big social circle here in my town. And so then I took some opportunities to dive into working on other people's vehicles and getting some really great results and enjoying the process, enjoying that escape. So a little bit of a selfish perspective of, well, I'm getting benefited twice here. Not only am I able to turn the noise off from work, but I can make a little money here, so then I started to do that. And, I don't have a large client base, but I have a lot of loyal regulars who it's a part of our relationship, where it's some from work, some outside from my social circle. And it's really enjoyable. It's something that I can't picture myself not doing at this point in my life.
Yeah.
So I've been married. I forget how long we got together in Y2K, and I actually consider the date I asked her to go steady as our anniversary. So 26 years, January 2nd. We have an 8-year-old son who's a beast, and that's why I'm outside. So he's probably playing some PS5 right now.
Yeah.
And anyone who has a young kid who plays video games knows the weird noises they make.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like wild animals. And
Yeah.
you're like, bro, you have no idea how bad that sounds.
Yeah.
But you don't make that noise at school ever, because they're gonna ridicule you.
That's hilarious.
So
Yeah.
I'm outside on my porch just chilling.
Totally
But
good. I saw
yeah.
a comment from Conway. He says, Chingy, does your beard come with its own Barry White soundtrack? Your beard looks very distinguished, might I say.
Oh, thank you. I get a lot of looks from the young cholos around town because, that's about how I grew up. So I wear long shorts, and I wear Vans, or I wear Cortezes, and Eddie's showed off my ankles in San Diego, which he gave me crap about. He was like, "Where's the long socks?" But yeah, here I look like I'm 60 years old, but it's just the stress, That's all it is.
Now, I really didn't realize until, maybe a week or so ago, that you lived in Sacramento, which is one of my favorite places to visit. Have you been to the dive bar?
So I have. We don't go there. I won't say anything negative on air about it because I love local commerce.
Oh.
But If you're a lady, you should get one of those covers for your drink. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, okay. Ooh, that's good to know because I've been there. And just so the chat knows, the dive bar is you literally walk into this bar, and up on top is a huge, almost like fish tank, if you will, with mermaids or mermen. Because I've been in there when it's been a male and a female, but they're swimming around. It's kind of a cool place. I don't know. I was just curious. I like going there, but I'm glad you said that because, whoo, okay.
Yeah, well, so I haven't been in years, but on TikTok, there's been some videos about that. And anything you hear on TikTok is fact, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And then Don, you live in Kentucky. I just have to ask, have you ever been to the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah. I went 1 year, not for necessarily enjoyment purposes, but I used to play competitive softball, and we traveled a lot. And so we went and worked at the Derby, sold beer and concessions and things like that to make money to help us buy new uniforms and travel and things like that.
Okay. That's one of my bucket lists is, to go to the Derby and wear the big old hat. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get there, but
yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. Okay. So Chingi, again, you guys are both full-time careers and doing this on the side. So I guess my next question is for both of you, and again, we can kind of start with Don and just keep going back and forth, is how you balance it all. Now, just coming from my perspective and my opinion, I don't even know that I call this a side hustle because I don't do it enough. You know what I mean? To really call it a hustle. It is just something I do in my spare time when I have time. I am more of an enthusiast, but I cannot imagine me having a full-time job like I do. I cannot imagine finding the time to balance a full-time side hustle and a full-time job. So I am really curious to hear how you both do it. How do you balance it all? Don, do you want to go start with that?
Yeah, I think for me the key is really the support system that I have around me. So my family, they're 1000% supportive of whatever I do because they know I have an illness about working out on vehicles and trying to keep them clean. Pretty much that's where I'm at. I'm out in the garage. So my wife, she's been super supportive. My kids, my brother, my sister, my parents, my in-laws, everybody's just been super supportive. So I think, though it's really a lot of taking, just doing it when I can, not trying to burn myself out. I don't need the money. I do fine with my regular job. I do it more because I like to do it, and I like the outcome. When you turn the car back over to the client, the customer, just the smile, the look on their face, that's kind of what makes it worth it for me. So I really just kind of focus on it more on the weekends, a little bit in the evenings here and there. That's kind of the way that I do it. And for me, it's really relaxing. Like just to go through the motions, whether it's a standard operating procedure, checking kind of checking things off of a box, it just relaxes me. I can go out and not have to think about anything else. Just go in and boom, start going through my processes.
Yeah.
And I do want to take a second just to recognize a couple of people, out in the detail world who've kind of been through a few things recently, and I've connected with them, and I've been lifting them up in prayer. And I wanted to mention, Adamo, Becca, Conway, and Mark Herricks. He recently lost his father as well. So just wanted to lift those guys up because to me, that's what this is all about. It's making the connections and connecting with people in general. That's kind of what it's about.
Yeah, those are some great human beings right there.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Well said, sir.
Very good. I love that. And I totally agree with you on the just being able, whether you're doing it as a side hustle or not, it really is. And I think a lot of people can resonate with the fact that it's just so relaxing. We're the type of people that find it as just that kind of serenity, peace, or place to go to. At least I know that I do. What about you, Chingi? How are you balancing? I'm guessing, I don't know, like in terms of hours, what you guys work. If you're working 8-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, how does that work? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm on 24 hours a day. My phone is on 24 hours a day. So I manage those two departments by myself. I don't have a supervisor. I don't have an admin. We're a small facility, so we do wear multiple hats, and we do the best that we can. And so anytime there's escalations, my phone's ringing, which I would much rather have than not hear about it and have, something go wrong. Excuse me. But yeah, so I have some probably obnoxious, obsessive characteristics, and my wife would gladly tell you. And so I try and stay busy at all times. With some of my past, when I was idle, is when I was getting in trouble, making wrong decisions or misinformed, short-term perspective decisions, and finding and just me as a person, physical outlet is extremely important to my mental health. And I'm not trying to go down a mental health narrative, but the more physically challenging of a lifestyle I have, the better outcomes I've always had. And so it really, especially starting now all the way through fall, I am looking for every opportunity to stay busy, in particular with opportunities to be able to provide some additional income, play money, I like to call it. But I'm sort of in Don's situation where financially it's not a necessity. It's more for me, unfortunate obsession of just staying busy. And so, like I've got a booking on Thursday. I've got to pick up the vehicle, and I do it all out of the crib. So I got to pick up the vehicle at 3:30 and have it back by 6:30. So I'm hoping to do a wash clay seal plus on it. Hoping to use the luminous graphene, the LM Graphene SP Pro,
The new
which
one.
I just laid it on a a 2017 Honda Accord, and looks amazing.
It's
and
nice. It has a good darkening effect on there.
It sure does. And so this vehicle's a Toyota Camry. I think it's a 21. But it's actually a coworker of mine, another manager's daughter. And so she's just moved out, just got this new to her vehicle. I think she's had it about a year. And we've been bouncing, working on this vehicle for about a year. And, originally it was, oh, well, I want to put a coating on it. And I was like, honey, that's going to be expensive. I don't think that's something, having just moved out, that is probably the smartest thing for you to do. And her parents agreed, right? So I said, let's settle somewhere in the middle, because if I'm putting a coating down, I'm busting out the machines, and that just the floor base price on that is going to be too expensive. So let's not do that. Let's just do a wash clay seal. And I took a look at the paint, and it's in good condition. It's silver. So it really is going to be able to, I think, show off, the paint pretty well, the luminous, the SP Pro. And so I've got that for Thursday. And I think that it's a less of an importance for, I guess, balance for me, or it's more important that I stay busy. And so, whether it's family or a client, I am just looking for every opportunity to stay busy. And obviously the wife trumps all of my extracurriculars. So if we have some family events, we have a weird dynamic. My wife and my relationship is become sort of the thread that holds both of our families connected in a certain way.
Yeah.
We were kids when we first got together, so we organize a lot of parties, and so we're busy doing that. But yeah, so I've got that booking this Thursday, and I'm really close to landing a coating. And I've been telling it to the fellas about this Mini Cooper at work. That's this beautiful green, and the weather's great. So I've been working on this guy at work. I'm like, dude, we planned on spring. It's spring.
Yeah,
The
it's
weather's
time.
beautiful. Let's get it going. And so I'm really close to nailing that one. I think he's dragging his feet. But I've got the luminous diamond coating
Oh, yeah.
that I don't want to just use on a one-time detail or a one-time project, because I want to actually see it
Yeah.
and get my hands back on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of reserved on who I'll use the luminous with, but really looking forward to trying that coating out. And I've had a real good run of some high quality ceramic coatings lately. So I threw the Serum 4 on my truck, and then obviously the Odin V2. Eddie,
Oh, yeah.
he's a bit of a whirlwind, that guy. And so I kind of just threw my hand in the middle of that storm and went along for the ride. But I think luminous is really creeping up on me.
Yeah.
I'm real hesitant to try new things, and I knew the second Nick with Yum Cars had dropped those Easter eggs about the testing for the coating, that I was going to try that. And I'm
Yeah.
really happy that I did. I would be 100% confident in that coating on a customer vehicle. But yeah, so, going back to the balance, it's less of a importance to have balance for me and more of just staying busy. So every opportunity I can, I'm trying to book somebody.
Yeah. So we've been on for about 40 minutes now. I do want to respect your time. So I usually do this for an hour. If we get to the point, Chingi and Don, where you guys need to go, just let me know. I don't.
Yeah, I'm solid.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. So we will do a giveaway, guys. Like I said, I kind of plan to do it a little more towards the end. So sit tight. Great stories. Again, I'd love hearing about people outside of just detailing. I love learning about people. So this has been great, but I do love also getting into talk about soaps and rinselesses and towels and all of these things, products. So if we can, let's
do it. Let's
do it. Let's dive in. In fact, we already have people asking questions. So if you have questions for either Don or Chris, please drop them in the comments and I will star them, and I promise you I will get to them. But let's start with tools. What are some of your tools go to that you cannot detail without?
Want to go first, Don?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them, and to the detailing folks, I think these will all just be normal. I would think, but a pressure washer, a vacuum, DI tank, air compressor, blowout tools, polishers, paint depth gauges. I mean, to me, those are things that, that I'm going to need more often than not at some point. Naturally, there's towels and chemicals. I mean, but I'm not really, speaking of those. I'm talking about more tools themselves. Towel is a tool technically,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. What about you, Chingy?
Yeah, everything that Don said. But I will say that my absolute favorite tool of 2025 was the Sunjo, the 5-gallon 90 psi Sunjo. It's a slapper. Shout out to the pusher man himself, Keeve, for always making me spend money that I didn't want to at the time, but FOMO is real, and he made it look so much fun, and really it enhanced my passion for rinseless washing, unlike anything else. I actually make a lot of jokes about people who rinseless wash, and it's not scientifically proven, but look at all of their eyebrows. I would wager that they're all very manicured. I'm just saying. I'm not making fun of people for their grooming, but I used to
Oh my
mock it.
God.
I used to be
That's
like details official, where it's like making fun of anyone who rinseless washes. But I would always use a ton of it. It's one of the most multifaceted, comprehensive platforms in the watch system out there, and the Sunjo actually made me enjoy it. And um, I've always been someone that loves the experience of it, and I never found enjoyment doing a rinseless wash until I started using the Sunjo, and I
oh,
was like, "Oh my God, this is quick, easy power!" And
yeah.
I think we showed some of that on the live at DTLR at the grand opening. Um, and Preludio is another chemical that's goated. That if you're not on the Preludio game, the alkaline, you really need to get up on some of that stuff, because it was melting
Yeah.
500 miles worth of bugs like
Yeah.
nothing, and 90 psi just wiped them almost all completely off. Um, but the Sunjo, I think, it's something that belongs in every detailer's arsenal of tools. Um, I would even say just as much as a compressor that can run your tornador, your blowout tool.
Yeah.
I think everyone should own it, or something similar, whether it's the Fantic or a detailing keg. I saw the Sunjo as a cheap alternative to the detailing kegs,
Yeah.
and I don't have to constantly re-add air to it. Um, it just goes, and that little, I think it's a 2.5 amp hour battery. It just doesn't die. You're not using it enough to really drain the battery. So
Yeah.
shout out to Sunjo. Um, Probably my next favorite tool of 2025 was the ShineMate EV212. Um, that little machine, for the price, pardon me, we've got some folks over here. Um, it's such a really great price point, and it is just so smooth. And so my other machine of choice was going with the 24-volt flex. And anyone who owns that frickin' sledgehammer knows the vibration is, it's borderline destructive. You're going to end up with nerve damage if you're not taking care of yourself. And I highly recommend getting those anti-vibration gloves with it, because it doesn't feel good when you're doing multiple steps, and it's gotten to the point where I think I'm going to bust out the rotary, and so just so I don't have to do 2 steps with that DA. But so going from that and then pulling out the 212, it's just so smooth, and it's like butter, and it really made me enjoy using the machines again. Um, and those are probably my 2 favorite tools of 2025. I thought it might be the IK E Pro or Foam Pro 2, but I think myself, along with every other person who bought it, experienced some issues with that. Hopefully they can revamp that tool, because when it works, it's great.
Yeah.
Mine just never turns off, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
It still works. It actually foams rather well.
Yeah.
It's just you always have to go back to it and turn it off and turn it off and turn it off. And it's just annoying. But
Yeah.
um,
I just get
yeah,
irritated with having to always charge things. That is one of my like pet peeves, is having to keep, I can barely keep my phone charged.
yeah. You know what though?
You know,
I
and
was
that's just me. That's
I
just me.
was late to the game on the Marilex. I always heard that it was the best sprayer, and I'm telling you, 4 or 5 pumps will get me around a whole vehicle. The sprayer, not the foamer.
Okay, I was
You
gonna say
need,
I didn't appreciate the foamer, but you're talking about the sprayer.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I've been using it to throw on citrus. It can get me around the whole vehicle in like 5 pumps. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But if you are going to use the foamer for Marilex, you got to do the foam thrower, Franco, Devil in the Details style. If you haven't seen his video on the foam thrower, it's pretty badass. He's the Mexican MacGyver. He makes some great content. Go check out his channel. He does it all. He's the Mexican Keith. He just he comes up with these funky ideas, and you're like, bro, what are you doing? And then you see it and you're like, oh damn, that's awesome. And when you're done, you're like, this dude, he's kind of like a mad genius. And he's one of my favorite people in the industry. But
Oh, we lost you. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
sorry, I had
you're good.
spam. So the Marilex, if you don't have their sprayer and you're not into electric, that's definitely a great tool to have.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it a lot.
Don, what about a soap? What is your go-to soap right now?
If you're talking about pH neutral,
Yeah,
I think
sure.
I think it's Detail Co. Soft Wash.
Yeah, yes.
I just used it. I just used it a couple days ago, and I mean, I just really like it. It works. It's solid. Um, for a high alkaline, like a pre-foam, I like Build Hamber Touchless. I've liked that a lot. And then for acidic, I really like Reset.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Reset does amazing, amazing work. I won't put that down.
Yeah. Reset is really good. I'm loving all of Yum's products, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, soft wash is my absolute go-to as well. You guys, we're about 50 minutes in. I think we should do a giveaway. Are you guys okay with that?
Yo, let's do it.
Sure.
Let's do the first giveaway. We're going to give away again, Go to V2 Towel, one of Dawn's t-shirts, and Kronos. And so here is the question. Where did Dawn say he was from? City and state. Where did Dawn say he was from? City and state. Oh, right here. Kayla, Louisville, Kentucky. Absolutely. You are the winner. Please email me at kaylantorres82@gmail.com. It's on the screen there. Let me know what you want. Again, it was the Goat V2 t-shirt and Kronos, and then we will make sure to get that to you. I think Kayla is one before. She's one of those with the quick internet.
Nice.
All right. So what about, you guys brought up rinseless. I have to tell you, Chingi, now that you said the whole bit about eyebrows, it's going to be a thing now. Everybody that I'm watching.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to be looking at their eyebrows. I mean, I was trying to look at yours for a second. I'm like, okay.
Oh no, they're big and bushy.
I'm also
big and bushy.
What if you're grabbing for a rinseless? What are you guys grabbing for?
I'm a surfactant fan. only because historically I've never enjoyed the process. So I didn't care if it was slick. I wanted it to clean, right? I wanted it to be thorough and fast and get me in and out quick. Um, and so I was N914 forever, B1, B2. When Yum came out with theirs, it was like, okay, this is it. And then, even Nemesis V1, I was a real big fan of that one too. And then I used Nemesis V2. And I used to make a lot of fun where the guys on YouTube would be like, oh, it's so slick. And this rinseless is slick. And it's like, dude, you're not allowed to use that word with rinseless because it's not. It's slick for a rinseless. You should use that phrase instead because it's not. I'm sorry, I don't care what sponge you're using. It's not necessarily slick. It slides, but it's not slick. Use heavy soft wash, right? Or heavy Yum wash concentration. Now that's slick. I've had detail brushes slip out of my hands because it's so slick.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that happen with the sponge. I've never ever even thought, oh my gosh, this is the slickest thing I've ever felt in my life. So, and then I use Nemesis V2, and it's the hybrid, and it's got the polymer in it, and it's like, oh, okay. I actually smiled the first time I used it, and thought, well, maybe this is what these guys are saying. And I never ventured away from their surfactant rinselesses, and then I used the hybrid. And so I don't have a real deep knowledge of rinseless and the technology. I'm just taking it at face value that it encapsulates dirt and does what everything that you hear the people preaching online about. And it's like, oh, well, okay. And I know it works, right? I've used it for years, but it's next level. I think Nemesis V2. I think that one is probably my absolute favorite right now. Though in direct sun, when it dries, it's got that polymer. It's that white. You could see it. And then so I'll just reactivate it really quick and dry off. It's an optical thing, right? I see it and it bothers me. But I'm very weird about some of that stuff. But I would say right now, my most enjoyable rinseless is Nemesis V2. I'm a fan of Yum rinseless because it's how they were able to make it a surfactant only rinseless and still get it to be rather slick.
Yeah.
Especially with a wash pad. I was just on a post on the Thor Facebook group where Tanner Bobbitt asked about the Wash Boss V2, and I was doing a comparison this weekend between the Yum Wash Pad and the Wash Boss V2, and even the Wash Boss Junior. And it's a really nice experience, that Yum rinseless with the microfiber. Where you do feel that slickness, and I was really impressed with the Yum rinseless. It's a very high quality rinseless, and I'm sure there are countless others out there as well. Yeah. So I don't want to just sound like a homer, but I'm a big fan of Nick and his line, and Nick is a human being, so yeah. I'm always eager to support him and Kelly, and he's one of the few people in the industry that reaches out to me personally. So there's a bit of a loyalty to what he's doing and where he's going. Yeah. So that was, I've always been impressed with him as a human being. So
definitely good people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Don? What are you reaching for if you're using a rinseless?
Yeah, I mean, not too much different than Chingi. My favorite is Yum rinseless with the tri-fiber Yum pad for sure. But I also have multiple gallons of Nemesis V2. So I keep both of them mixed up, ready to go at all times. So, one day I might use one, the next day I'll use the other. They're both very, very good. Both have great scents, smell very good when you're spraying them, on the vehicle, and that's part of the whole user experience is, kind of the smell, the feel, what it leaves behind, just all of it together. They're both super, super high quality. And those are the ones that I go to.
Yeah. Mike G is saying that Josh V's rinseless is a sleeper. Endo. Have you guys tried Endo yet? I haven't. I still have not. It's the only product in his line I have not tried. Oh, that's right. I do see it.
Haven't used it yet, but it's happening.
Yeah. I keep hearing it's great. Becca has said too, that it is absolutely awesome. So let's kind of do, let's see. I want to get to questions before I forget. Let's take this. I know it's they're asking Chingi, but let's just do kind of like a quick round. Favorite wheel and tire, both of you right now. What are you using?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I've tried a bunch, and after I use them, I always end up going back and buying more Maniac.
Yeah.
It's just on Autoality with their club membership, the pricing, the shipping. There's no reason for me to venture outside of Maniac. It does everything else is doing out there. Has exceptional browning, has exceptional cleaning. If I need a sledgehammer, I'm using acid anyway, so I don't need a 2-in-1 to really do gangster work. I just need it to work. I need it to brown. I need it to clean the rim, the wheel, and that's my go-to. Another one that I found to be on the same level is the Luminous Blaze. But I'm a loyal person, and so it's like I have a comfort zone with Maniac, and I know what dilutions I need to use it with, and so I didn't go too deep onto the Blaze road. And I am new to the wheel foams, and I've tried both Yum and GT, and that Yum wheel foam is something else, man. It's chef's kiss. It's exceptional, and I think that GT offers a little bit more of a pH neutral. The dilutions that they called for, I think you should go heavy with them instead of going based on the label. But Yum 4-to-1 is just hangs on that wheel forever. And you're the one that gets rid of that foam. If you just walked away, come back 5 minutes later, it's still there.
Yeah.
Right. But
no, I agree.
I think it's exceptional.
I agree. What about you, Don? Wheel and tire.
Well, as my logo shows, the wheel. So that's probably my favorite thing to start with. And the Yum wheel system is my go-to. But I also have Blaze that is really, really good. I've been using Josh's brake recently too. It's really good. And just for giggles, I will throw in some GT wheel shampoo as well into the bucket. I've got multiples, and I like all of those. But if I'm just reaching for one, it's Yum's. Their whole wheel system is my favorite.
Yeah, I did like GT. I mean, I still like their wheel shampoo, but then when I tried Yum foam, because you can put Yum foam in the bucket as well. It is to me more lubricating than even GT's wheel shampoo. It just feels so good. Just slides right over that wheel. I really do. I really do love the Yum wheel system. Were you able to check out? I don't know if you guys watched today
I did
the battle of the brands today, and it was close. I mean, Luminous, Quiver, and Yum. You really cannot go wrong with any one of them.
They're all good representations of the House of Rags and the quality companies and chemicals that they've brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Shout out to Josh, because his products across the board, they're all really good.
Oh,
Are
they are.
they? I
Yeah.
don't, and it's on purpose, where he's not, and I don't know, I can't speak for the man, but it almost feels like he's not trying to shoot for the absolute stars. He's trying to dial in his line for exactly what he wants out of it,
Yeah.
what he needs out of his business. And they're all good. And they're all sun friendly. And I've pressure tested this stuff, like direct sun, and those folks who don't know the Sacramento climate, it's extremely hot in the summertime. Well, we'll get to 115 regularly, and I'm out there washing vehicles. I don't hesitate. And when I do, I go right to Josh's line, whether it's Rogue. And I know that people were a little, I want to use the right word, but they were wondering a little bit about impact. You can always spice things up a little bit. You throw a little APC, a little high pH APC in there, and you can get a little bit more activity out of his active foam. And it's very similar to KCX active foam, which is my go-to.
Yeah.
And his stuff just works, man. I think Josh is changing things up, and I really feel like his line deserves a lot more respect and attention. And I think they're all very, very high quality value buys. He's just doing his stuff the right way. I'm really happy to see the success that's coming his way, and hopefully it continues to grow more and more.
Yeah. And I really like the quantity that he's selling his products in.
Absolutely.
I think that is also a game changer, because there's sometimes, even for me, I don't want a gallon, but I also want more than 16 ounces.
For sure.
So I think that was a really smart move.
That was a turnoff initially when Luminous launched. They were all the 500 ml bottles. And it's like, well, which one do I want to test? I'm not going to get a very thorough test out of 500 ml.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. And there was always that, the gallons are coming. It's like, well, I had a 500 ml test off of, a few washes of Blaze. And so I never moved past it because I didn't feel like I got enough out of it.
Yeah.
So to your point, wanting a little bit bigger of a buy or a bottle size to buy, I think it's perfect. And if anyone who's used Rogue, what is it? I don't know how big it's a liter, right?
Yeah.
His liter bottles, Rogue will last you a season if you're a DIYer. You just need a cap of that stuff, and it's going to foam 3 ounces of other stuff.
Yeah.
A cap of that foams like 6 ounces of GSF. Straight up.
Yeah.
I used to like GSF a lot until I tried. It's crazy when I don't know if you guys have felt this way, but in the beginning, when you're just trying products and starting out, and you find a product and you think like, dang, this is really good, until you try a better product and it's like, well, crap, maybe that wasn't. It's so good.
It's slick and it does all that, but it's like,
not
oh my gosh, that's a 50-50 mix of this foam cannon to get some real foam, and it goes back to, dude, you don't need dry foam. It's not better for the vehicle. You like the wet foam. I mean, it is what it is, but having a soap that could do it all, that's why I go to soft wash. That's my favorite by far. Nothing comes close to it, in my opinion. I think it's the best pH neutral soap on the market right now. But
we have somebody asking how Odin is doing now. Chingi, if everyone knows or nobody knows, but his car is literally the first vehicle that has Odin V2.
Yo, go check out the IG. I showed a sneak peek of the hydrophobics, and it's pretty nutty, man. I showed Conway 3 clips earlier today. I showed him Odin V2. I showed him Yum Serum 4, and I showed him the LM Graphene SP Pro, and basically walked away saying, "Man, you can't go wrong with either of the three."
Wow.
One thing that has surprised me, aside from the hydrophobics, is how slick it is, and it was slick after the final buff. And anyone who watched the live, that was laid under non-ideal or not really ideal conditions. We were in direct sun, and my dumbass should have busted out the easy up from the gate. But
I know, I noticed that at the end. I'm like, they should have put that up in the beginning.
Well, the SUV was loaded down. It was loaded down. Okay. I had all kinds of food in there. I had drinks in there. I had Eddie was joking of the heater being in there, but I was like, "Man, I'm coming to Southern California. I'm bringing the heater with me." And it was like I didn't want to have the tailgate open too much, right? Because there's all kinds of stuff, and I know Eddie, but I don't know Eddie. You know what I mean? We could have been like driving around the block. Next thing you know, Menace to Society style, Jack move. You know what I mean? So, and when you're in a different town, you gotta be careful. So
that's true. That's true. Eddie gonna go gangster on it, huh?
But so like it was direct sun. It was hot, and when we laid it down, it was we saw a little bit of steam and crazy flash, and that first wash, go check it out. It's on my IG. I don't even know what the heck it's like Chingi Blinging 916 or something like that. But it looks incredible. Feels incredible. The slickness is probably the most impressive part about it, because I see some crazy hydrophobics already, right? So it's very high standards with that. And anyone who watches the shorts that I put on, I think hydrophobics are sexy. So it's a majority of the content that I post on there. And the slickness, though, to the touch. I did a side-by-side with the serum and Odin V2, and I couldn't decide. They were both like, wow, it's too close to call.
Yeah. Well, and Dawn just showed the hydrophobics. You have LM Graphene, the SM Pro, right, Dawn? Is that?
I have the regular coating, not the spray. The regular coating. LM Graphene coating.
LM Graphene coating. Okay, I thought it was the spray, but man, the hydrophobics on that coating
look great.
Absolutely
wild. Great. Yeah.
Wow.
Great work, sir.
Yeah, I've been happy with it so far.
Yeah. Somebody had mentioned in here, they can't wait for Josh's coating. And when Josh was showing the hydrophobics, it mirrored, I thought, what you showed, Dawn. I mean, it was pretty similar, and it was good, man.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a good one.
Yeah, B porn is right, Dan. Absolutely. Keith is asking, Chingi, how did you get your name?
So if you're Mexican in Texas, you know who Chingo Bling is. And he's a Mexican comedian. And it's my son's nickname.
Oh, okay.
And when he was a baby, he's a mama's boy still to this day, but he's a Chi-Chi baby. So when mom would leave him, he didn't like the bottle. And so he was grumpy. And I was watching a Chingo Bling Netflix special. And he's super funny, dude. And there was a clip in there of his show where he's doing a little sketch about he went and did a show in Mexico, and he's crossing back into the United States and the Border Patrol. The whole bit is hilarious, but he kept calling him Chingy Blingy. And because this guy didn't know he's a comedian or anything like that. So he just called him Chingy Blingy. And that's been my son's nickname since he was like 6 months old.
Aww.
And so at the time I was doing like some gaming, and I took that as a handle and for my little gaming world. And so I've been Chingy Blingy for a decade, maybe.
That's cool.
And it's actually no, my son's 8 years old. So for 8 years, 7.5 years. Now he's almost 9.
Yeah.
For 8 years, I've had that as a online little moniker. But
Nice.
yeah.
I love that. All right, guys. So here's this question. What is a tool that everyone has hyped up, but you're like, nah?
That's
I
easy
mentioned
for me.
mine.
The rinseless sponge for me.
Okay.
I'm out on the rinseless sponges. I'd much rather have a pad or a mat, a mitt, not necessarily a mitt, but a
Yeah.
pad. That's typically what I go to, that I go for. So that may be unpopular opinion, but that's me.
Have you guys
Yeah.
tried the perfectly safe? Would you?
I would try it. I don't have it.
Chingi's face. He's like,
Yeah.
Don, hold on really quick. Don, what did you say? You said you would or you wouldn't?
I wouldn't mind trying it. It wouldn't be the first thing that I would go try. That's just not how I would go about it.
And Chingi, I already can see from your face, you're like, nah.
It's one of those things that goes against years of hearing those brushes are unsafe.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now it's safe.
But it's not the same.
Understood. And I'm not trying to argue that fact.
Yeah.
It's more just when you've pre-programmed
No, I get
a
that.
certain thing, it's very difficult to get outside of that.
Yeah.
And I've never used it, so I'm not one to say yay or nay. I don't know enough about it to argue one way or another. I would try it. And I can think of one area where I would use it. So I'm 46, and this year I'm going to be 47, but I got the back of like a 55-year-old, 60-year-old. And this Traverse I own, as well as my truck, has some lower plastics that this brush will be perfectly safe on, right? That I don't want to crawl under there and get it by hand, So I use my mitt on the stick right now, but it's not aggressive enough. It just slides right over, especially if there's soap on there.
Yeah.
It's if I really needed some agitation, I could see where that brush would probably do God's work on it. So I could see some areas where I would use it. I don't think I would put it on my paint, but I'm very particular about what I put on paint anyway.
I used the mitt on the stick for quite some time. And maybe it's just me because I'm weak sauce, it's just so heavy. It gets so heavy, and it's sometimes hard to maneuver because it does get so heavy. That's one thing that I like right away with the PSBs. It's just so easy to manage. Man, but I cannot imagine. I tend to, if I'm detailing cars, I tend to get the cars or the SUVs with the crazy grills, including my own. Like, man, I cannot imagine using anything else now. It does wonders on grills. And of course, I don't have to stand on a bench anymore. But
I heard you mention that before, and
grills?
I could see where that would definitely get in there. And the minute on the stick's not getting in there.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
and
But yeah,
maybe the noodle would do a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll send you one, Chingi. Would you be willing to try it if I sent you one?
I'm always willing to try. I'm always willing to try things.
Don, if I sent you both one, we gotta.
I spend lots of money trying these things.
I mean,
yeah.
It never hurts to try something at least once, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I could always try it on my wife's car.
Yeah.
There you go. That's cool.
David had asked, he sent Chingi, he sent you and I Invoke. I have not used that yet.
David,
I have not.
You need to shoot me a DM of which one's which. I've got an unmarked, I think it's a clean bottle. And then I've got the undress. Which one was which? One of them was the standard, the other one was the rinseless with protection.
Okay.
But
So,
yes, he sent me home with a couple of samples. Yeah, and shout out to Frankie with Stay Wet. He hooked up some High Luster,
oh,
the that soap that they made with Talking with Cars,
The
yeah,
Blue Crush.
the Blue Crush.
yeah,
I used it yesterday, and that stuff's pretty good. And
Mhm.
anyone who hasn't heard the story about High Luster, I'm really big on stories and
yeah,
people. I support people, and I think we all should,
yeah,
right? I think that's what makes the industry so special, or could be so special.
yeah,
And it's a long-standing company in Southern California. The company was left to her. I
yeah,
forget her name, Franco. Shout out her name in the comments, please. Um, so the father passed away, left it to his daughter, and I saw her on a video on Instagram, and she's very young.
yes, like
And
23 or something.
yes,
Yeah,
support
yeah,
High Luster if you guys get a
yeah,
chance, because
yes,
we want companies like that to get some love, or I do.
yeah,
I don't want to speak for anyone else, because it just feels like, you know, we're buying random products off of random companies all the time. Let's send a little love to
yeah,
a company that has a story, and it's a quality soap. I haven't used any of the other products, but you can support High Luster by getting the Blue Crush, and you could support Rob. I think it's Rob
Mhm.
yes.
Caputo
Talking with Clark.
with Talking with Cars.
Yeah,
I don't know him personally, but just from his content, it seems like a gentleman who's trying to, help out the industry. He has
yeah,
a foam cannon as well, and
Mhm.
yeah,
he's, someone that I think, if you're going to spend a few bucks, man, send it good people's way. So,
yeah,
shout out to High Lester, and
yeah.
shout out to Talking with Cars.
Yeah.
I would love to get her on. Adamo
You
met her.
definitely should.
Yes, Adamo met her. I believe it was at SEMA. Adamo, correct me if I'm wrong. And he's given me her contact information, and I believe I still have it. Adamo, I think I need it again, but I do want to get her on. I've been thinking about her actually the last couple of weeks.
Get her on, and I'll do a good giveaway.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Very cool. Speaking of giveaway, Conway graciously, man, this man is, I mean, if people don't know Conway,
Yeah, shout out to OG,
shout
triple
Yeah.
out
OG.
to
He's a
this
goat.
man. He is
Yeah.
voted. He is just one of the most amazing people, yeah, ever. So
And he
he
watches wild clips. He sends wild clips.
does.
He
He
sent
said,
me like a gangster chef. I'm not sure if you guys
"Oh
got the
yeah, he
gangster
did
chef.
that to me too." So
uh,
funny. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. Conway's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, Conway is absolutely awesome. So he is doing Luminous LM Graphene 2.0 spray coating and Yum Detail spray together, which is
Ooh,
beautiful.
killer combo.
What a giveaway,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so here is the question. Hopefully you were listening. So Chingi said that he bought a car. This is when he was talking about getting into detailing. He bought a car in 1995. Give me the make, model, and color of the car. Make, model, and color. You guys are missing color. Make, make, model, and color. Oh man, hold on. They're coming quick. 90. Okay, make, model, and color. Do we need to say, so I see this first, 95 black Z28, but he didn't say Chevy, Greg. Do we accept that? What do you guys think?
I'll send you some stuff anyway, Greg. No, he
Okay.
wants it.
Okay.
He wants that coating bad.
I did. Oh, Greg, I said make,
Your show,
model,
Christy. You make the rules.
make, model, and color. Okay. I can send Greg. I'm going to send Greg. I'll send him stuff too, because I did say make, model, and color. And I think the first one to do make, model, and color is Chris M. Sorry, Greg. I love you to death. Don't kill me. I'll send you a spray coating. Is that what he wants to try?
Yeah, I think that's what
Okay.
Conway's putting up, right?
Yeah.
The
Greg,
spray coating.
I can send you some things, Greg. I'm sorry, but I am going to be fair. So this would be Chris M. Congratulations on.
Congrats.
All right. Congrats,
uh,
man.
giveaway, please email me, kaylintorres82@gmail.com, Chris, and we will get that sent out to you. Again, sorry, Greg, don't shoot me.
So I did a video. I haven't posted it yet, of that Honda Accord with the luminous spray coating on there. It's the SP Pro, and it was, the water was doing some Josh V hydrophobics from that teaser from his coating.
Yeah.
I don't have the GPM in my pressure washer like Josh does on his, but it wanted to do the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
It just was bunching up and floating in midair. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Really nice coating. And then everyone knows Detailer it's the GOAT. It's the slickest stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Yum Detailer that's in a league of its own.
No doubt.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I think I've kind of talked about it in our Discord chat, but I'm gathering 1 year spray coatings. I'm going to do a video on battle of the 1 year spray coatings. So I'm excited to get that going. I think I have about 10 so far.
Wow.
And
yeah.
you gave me the NV. What is it? The Jet? Is it Jet that I got off of you?
Yes.
I hear that one's got stupid hydrophobic.
Yes.
That's what Slick was saying. That's what Maddie was saying.
Yeah, I am.
I'm building up a little collection too.
Yeah, I went down the NV rabbit hole because of Eddie. Eddie has always really repped NV, and I've really never heard anybody else in this industry or in this community, I should say. I've never heard anybody else really talk about it, but Eddie has always kind of repped NV, and it really is good.
So, Sandro, if you guys, get into the YouTube rabbit hole, I think it's Cardcraft. I forget his channel, but Sandro, he's down in, I think, Australia, and so he's a big NV guy. He's got lots of videos on NV. Go take a look. It's I think 2 spray coatings they have. It's Jet and Luster. I think Jet has the hydrophobics and Luster, and it could be inverse. I'm not sure, but they sort of work symbiotically together and really form a great looking presentation together.
Yeah.
The other one I think was on V2 is Detailing Breakdown. Do you guys watch him?
Oh yeah, I used to watch him quite a bit. I don't see his content pop up much as I used to, but yes, I think he's into it.
That dude's on point with his taste and product.
Yeah.
He's not Eddie Cologne as far as personality, right?
Never.
But he's got great taste in product. He was on the Invoke game too.
Yeah.
He had Invoke on his channel.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. Like I said, I don't watch him like I used to. His stuff used to pop up all the time. I don't know if he's doing as much content as he used to, but I always enjoyed him. I really did. Sandro too. Yeah, I believe he has a very soothing voice.
Oh yeah, he's got the best voice.
Oh yeah.
In the game.
So Eddie says he wants to do a Chingi bundle giveaway. Do you know what that bundle is, Chingi, or do we need?
Yeah, so we were talking the other day, and he's calling it the Chingi bundle, but it's La Cosmetica Preludio.
Okay,
Nemesis,
the rinseless,
yes,
the rinseless Preludio.
Yeah, the alkaline. It's everything we used on the wash from San Diego. So the Preludio alkaline, and Nemesis V2, and the sponge.
And the sponge. Okay. Great giveaway. Man, now I've got to think of a third question. I had the 2 written down. As soon as I heard them, I knew what they were going to be. Okay. I'll have to think about this a minute. So while I'm thinking about this, I'll ask you both this last question. We've been on for almost 1 minute and 30, you guys. Thank you so much again for spending your time with me. So Dawn, I'm going to start with you. What do you think? Well, let's do this one. If someone started detailing today, where do you think they should put their focus first? On chemicals, on processes, on SOPs? Where do you think somebody should put their focus first?
I would say I would say the SOP. I mean, I think, instead of somebody getting lost, I think they need to know where they're going and have that process down pat. I think that's the most important. You can always get better tools. You can always get better chemicals. Get what you need to get the job done first. And then I think the second thing, I guess, from an advice standpoint would be don't undercharge. Um, because a lot of people, when they're starting out, they're going to undercharge to try to get a job. And then if it starts to become more successful, then you've kind of backed yourself into a hole from a pricing standpoint, and you're going to work yourself to death. So don't undercharge. That's kind of the advice that I would go with.
Nice. SOPs are important, man. Conway and I just had this conversation, and when he comes on, we're going to really do a kind of big dive into SOPs. So I totally agree with you on that one. I think I waste a lot of time sometimes because I'm all over the place. Even though I have it written down, I don't always follow it. So I love that. What about you, Chingi? What do you think?
Um, well, if you sort of fine tune the question a little bit, if you're looking at detailing for a living or for a way to earn to support your family, I think the number one thing you need to really start looking at is math. I think that people underutilize math in dialing in exactly how much cost per use. Um, and I'm assuming if you're going into it from a business perspective, you already have some experience in the game, so you know which products you know that work well and you enjoy and are highly dilutable and all of those things. And I think that people sort of skip that and you know really fine tuning volume with your inventory. I've made that mistake a lot. Uh,
Mm,
Buying bulk rather than testing some things, um, and really dialing in your cost per use. And then, I think that another thing is if you're doing this from an enthusiast or a DIYer, I think, obviously the SOP is important from a business perspective and dialing in your process, but I'm assuming that you already have some time vested and you already have built your SOPs if you're looking to just make money doing this.
yeah.
Hopefully you have some experience before you decide to make a living detailing
Yeah.
cars.
Right.
But if you're just getting into detailing, I would say buy small, test your multiple medias, multiple wash platforms, multiple lines. Listen to users and not brands. I think that they have an obligation from a business perspective to sell their products, but I think the user experience is one I would, and no offense to anyone,
Oh,
um, I would trust use real world feedback from users that are brave enough to put content out there,
yeah.
voice their opinions, decide on who you're listening to, whether it's based on their results or based on how eloquent they can convey their experience and their results, and start small and trust but verify. Right?
Mm,
Trust that the person you're taking advice from knows what they're talking about, and then experience it yourself. Get your hands dirty, get in there, and then make some informed decisions after you've gotten a little bit of experience. There's a lot of amazing products out there, and it's kind of hard to mess up a pH neutral soap, right?
yeah.
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 Do
You
do
know,
a lot of family, do a lot of practice on your family stuff too.
for
That
sure.
that's good point. Yeah.
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 Test, find what you
Right.
like, and,
Yeah.
and use what brings you some enjoyment,
Yeah.
because it's fun. I think we could all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much.
Absolutely.
It needs to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was going to ask you, Chingi, you are kind of a bit of a movie star. How do you like being the trailer voice of a production?
Oh, geez. You
Like,
should have seen
geez,
the
Greg.
harassment my wife and son gave me when I'm in the bedroom, and they both like they didn't kick down the door, but they just both barge in and they're like, "What the heck are you doing?" My son doesn't speak like that, but in his little
Yeah,
8-year-old
yeah,
language, right? He was
yeah.
like, "What you doing, Dad?" And my wife was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." Nothing. Why? You can hear me out there? And they're like, yeah, who are you talking to? I was like, Greg made me do it, you know?
Yeah,
And
hilarious. So good though, so good.
yeah, Greg's onto some stuff. I think that he brings an artist. He's got some background in some podcasting and radio work. And he's one of the funner people that I talk to on a regular basis.
He is fun.
Agreed.
But yeah, that was pretty fun to watch it all come together. And he's got a great sense of humor, and he has a vision of what he wants to do with his time and his content, and he owns it. And he's really an exceptional guy for the people that haven't seen his videos.
Yeah,
It's unlike anything out there in the content world.
yeah,
I don't know of any other content creator that's making anything similar. It's
Mm-mm.
funny, it's detailed as far as the process and the
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
He's bringing a sense of humor and a theatrics to it all that I think just is it's pretty special.
Yeah.
If anybody has not seen Greg's content, I just dropped it. It's at GC Bold on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. Literal media productions, and it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Shout out to Greg again for taking the time to bring content like that, because he's killing it. Definitely.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Greg also had a good suggestion. His fingers don't move as fast as the younger generation, I guess is what I was gathering in the chat. So he would like to do the Chingi bundle as a hashtag, which, are you okay with that, Chingi, if we do it as a hashtag?
Of
Okay.
course.
Okay. So after the stream ends here, not in this chat. Sometimes we have an issue with this. Not in this chat. When the stream ends, in the comments, and I will put it here, you're going to put hashtag hustle. Okay. Hashtag hustle. And then on my next podcast, next Monday, I will announce the winner, and I can even record the whole wheel spin for you guys. I can put that in the introduction for the Chingi bundle. So again, that was the Preludio Alkaline Rinseless Nemesis V2 and the sponge. So does that sound good?
That's
Shout
awesome.
out.
Everybody's already, yeah. Don't not hear Chris M in the chats in the comments after the stream ends.
Can I give a quick shout out?
He is trolling.
I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Eddie Cologne.
Absolutely.
He is Mr. Personality, right?
Yeah.
And he even talks about it on his content. Love him or hate him, he's a personality, and he's the real deal. That's a genuine article. He knows his business.
Yeah.
As a detailer, he's not a studio gangster. He's not just some guy behind the camera. We were in some hard conditions, and I've told a couple of people that how impressed I was with his motor. He didn't slow down at all. He was the last one to slow down. I was slowing down before.
Yeah.
And he doesn't work out in the sun the way I do on a regular basis. And he picked the process for the coating. He picked the pads, the polish. He picked the H9, the Agent Orange, and he nailed it without a second option. He nailed it the first time around. And I'm not trying to like blow it up or try and flatter the guy, but
No, but I mean, it's
I was so impressed with
deserved.
him as a person. The whole collective of Mr. Cologne. He even dabbed me up with some of his cologne. You guys can see it in the video.
Smelling good, huh?
Yeah, there was like 8 of us out there just sweating. He was like, "Man, y'all stink." And he
Y'all
just started spraying it. But it was an experience that I'll never be able to replicate.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the people that threw down. And none of that happens without Josh and DTLR Supply in Escondido.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen without Eddie Colon. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen without David. It doesn't happen without Frankie. It doesn't happen without Andrew. It doesn't happen without Prince Ali. There were just so many people, and I left out, I'm sure, others. But those are the guys. And shout out to Buff and Shine, Tony with Buff and Shine.
Oh, yeah, because they hooked you up with what you needed.
And he was just so outgoingly helpful. At one point, he was like, just whatever you need.
Yeah.
Right. But then he said something at the end when we were done. I was thanking him. And I made a point to thank everybody because the experience was so special to me. I say, hey, Tony, I just really want to thank you for allowing us to, experience this. It was a community thing, right?
Yeah.
And he said something that was so wise, and I think that kind of just exemplified the whole energy of the day. He said, I'm just a detailer like everybody here. And this guy was working. This guy was on the clock. And he said, I'm just a detailer like everybody here. It was like an energy going through the place of people. Like, once the word got out, because, Eddie's a whirlwind. And so I latched on, I try to lasso that whirlwind. And next thing you know, everyone's saying, oh, you guys are working on it. You guys are doing a coating. And the word traveled pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it was just going to be me and Eddie. And then next thing you know, there's like 6, 7, 8 people getting in on it. And shout out to Adrian. He was a DJ for a little bit. Shout out to Mike G. He was DJ for a little bit. Man in the Live. It was a community thing. It was a culture. It was really special. Yeah. I'll never forget it.
And the fact that you guys brought us with you on the live, I mean, that was awesome too. Because, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking for other people, I guess, but you really felt like you were there in the moment. And it was just so cool to see everything happening so impromptu. It was a really cool thing. So
I saw a couple comments later, like, I can never let anyone besides myself touch my vehicle. And I thought, how could you not in this situation?
Yeah.
Look what you would have missed out on.
I think I messaged you at one point, when the idea first came up, I could see your eyes like, do I really want to do this? Like, are we really doing this right now? Are we really touching my car right now? I could see it, but I'm so glad that you went with it, because I think the turnout was absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the results. I could fix almost anything unless they burnt through the paint, and I wasn't going to let that happen. But it was a perfectly performing ZR53 coating.
Yeah, and
it was performing flawlessly. I mean, it went feeling like silk, and the hydrophobics are beautiful. Everything about it was perfect. And Eddie was like, he goes, hey, I got that coating. And I even told him, nah, save it. I'm good. I just want to kick it. I just drove freaking 8 hours, bro. I'm trying to kick it. And he was like, let's do it right now. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, let's do it right now on live. Yeah. And he was like, are you down? And at that point, it was like, you know what? Let's go. I want to see what you're made of, And that man is made of the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, well, guys, we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. Can you believe it?
It goes by fast.
It does. It doesn't even feel like it. Yeah. I once again, my kids are over here. I haven't fed them dinner yet, so I hate to cut it short, but my son is eyeing me over here. I once again, you guys, really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on. I love hearing, I loved hearing about, everything that you guys are doing outside of detailing. Any last words that you want to leave, Dawn? Any last piece of advice or suggestion or saying or quote or final word for the community, for the industry?
I think one of my mottos that I like to go with is serve and protect, and basically, serving the client, serving your friends, your family, your customers, and protecting their investments, protecting their vehicles, which we all know, vehicles are not cheap.
Yeah.
So that's usually kind of what I like to go with.
I love that. Awesome. Chingi, last words?
No, just thank you for, thinking that we would be interesting enough for a show. Number one, I really value your podcast. I think it's one of the more enjoyable podcasts out there. You do an exceptional job.
Yeah.
Thoughtful, and you bring a really great perspective to the industry, and in particular the YouTube community. As you guys know, it really has brought a bunch of randoms together, right? And for people that don't know, there's a small community that has somewhat banded together in the dungeon, in the Franco's dungeon, that we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other, and we support each other, and from a basic human element, we fellowship on a daily basis. So thank you, Franco, for giving us an opportunity to meet each other and get to know each other. And I think there's some things that are in the works, some more to come. We really value everyone that shows up on the podcast and the chat. That's where all the fun happens. I'm sorry I didn't get to see any of the chat today, but yeah, be
Same.
good to each other,
I have to
man.
rewatch it.
Yeah.
Life's short. You know what I mean? Be good to each other. Don't be a dick.
That's right.
Shout out to the single moms, government cheese. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. And I'm going to end it here. I will catch you all on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.